everyone. How are you all? I'm sorry I couldn't be there today. But we're gonna have a fun class. So Melanie's sister had a baby a little while ago, and the baby was born on September 22nd, which is the first day of autumn, which is fantastic because that's actually my favorite season. Um, well, I mean, I like spring too, but I get allergies. So winter is autumn. I don't really get any of them. So I'm gonna go over some reflections on the season of autumn. Um, so fall is a season of balancing light and dark, letting go and accepting the impermanence of things. Here are quotes, recommended resources, and reflections on this time of the year. And this is the time of year we're in, which is wonderful. Coming up on winter, which of course, in the holidays, so everything's kind of sweeping together. But let's think about autumn. So, one second, I'm sorry. Now, the autumn equinox, so, the 22nd marks the equinox, marks the arrival of the season of fall, traditionally seen as a period of challenges leading to the dark of winter. Dun, dun, dun. In holidays and holy nights, Christopher here points out that for Christians who observe the liturgical year, which I don't exactly know what that is, and my phone's way over there, so I'm not looking it up. Autumn is actually the beginning of the cycle. In an excerpt, he suggests that the dynamics of the fall of the year have the sweep of a great symphony or an epic poem, which honestly I can agree with that. All right. So that may explain why so many poets reflected on the season. The Heart of Autumn contains 38 examples by Robert Atwan from such poets as Robert Bly, um, Sarton, Carl Sandburg, great poet, Robert Penn, and all sorts. Yeah, let's get back to some of these. But the most important is the excerpt from this book is Leaves by William Virgil Davis, a poem that conveys the mysterious qualities of fall. So, what can we learn from fall? Number one, balancing darkness with light. On the autumn equinox, day and night are of equal length. So, well, we'll go more into it, but instead of the days being longer or the days being shorter, the days are days. This signals the need to balance light and darkness within us. Far too often we fear the dark and endure only the light. Some people, I like the dark. So this goes into, okay, so Joyce Rupp, who is a writer and a spiritual teacher, challenges us in life pieces of light to befriend our inner darkness. And this is a quote from something that he wrote. I gratefully acknowledge how darkness has become less of an enemy for me and more of a place of silent nurturance, where the slow, steady gestation needed for my soul's growth can concur. Not only is light a wonderful part of my life, but I am also developing a greater appreciation of how much I need to befriend my inner darkness. Now, that does not mean, because a lot of people do really reflect on darkness as something that's frightening or something that's supposed to be not thought about, and just but darkness is just a part of the world that we live in. And so it's best that we accept that it can be a beautiful part, but we all need to be able to accept it. The more we deny it, the harder it becomes, and the more we put forth negative attributes and negativity towards it. So, like I said, I've always liked the night better than the day, but that's just me. It's just more peaceful. Okay, give me 1 second. Now, not only do people from one faith really enjoy the fall, there's also a Buddhist named Gary Thorpe in Caught in Fading Light tells a wonderful teaching story about telling all situations where we are left in the dark without answers. We've all been there. So here's the teaching. Once, when the Zen master, I'll probably butcher this name, so I apologize, but yeah, I'll do my best. So once, when the Zen master Takusin was still a student, he visited his teacher. And here's another name I might, not get exactly right. Ryutan. And just before sundown, they sat on the floor of Ryutan's hut, casually drinking tea and discussing until deep into the night. Best conversations ever. At last, Ryutan said, "Maybe it's about time you went home." Takusin bowed to his teacher and walked to the door and said, "It's completely dark outside." Ryutan lit the lantern and said, "Why not take this?" Just as Takusin was about to take the lamp from his teacher's hand, Ryutan blew out the flame. Takusin suddenly knew everything there was to know. And from what I summarize, is that there's no need to be afraid of the dark. All we need to do is just like the light of day when we wake up, is to adjust to it. So Thorpe comments, sometimes there's no remedy for our situation. Then we begin from a point of absolute darkness, or tabula rasa, which is clean slate. Turning off a television set and extinguishing a lantern have certain similarities. They are both abrupt and transition making and can leave us in a different world. In darkness, we are always on our own. That's not really true, though. There's a lot of things out there during the dark. Yeah. And they both accompany us and make us feel safe if you choose to. Okay, number 2, letting go. As we watch leaves fluttering to the ground during the fall, we are reminded that nature's cycles are mirrored in our lives. Autumn is a time for letting go and releasing things that have been a burden. Fall is the right time to practice getting out of the way and letting spirit take charge of our lives. And just human spirit, within you. Though things may seem darker, it is a chance to just, let ourselves be part of the world, be part of this change, be part of, because, fall, everything starts to drop, the leaves drop, things fall. So everything is letting go in order to have sort of a rebirth, which I think it's great that Adrian was born on the first day of fall. In Kinds of Power, James Hillman, the elder statesman of contemporary depth psychology, challenges us to learn from others about this. And this is his quote: "For what the actor tries to achieve on stage is to get out of the way so that the character he or she is portraying, that they are portraying, can fully come out. So too, the writer and the painter. They have to get out of the way of the flow of the work onto paper and onto the paper and onto the canvas. And sometimes that it is. You just need to let go. And there's a Buddhist teacher, Sharon Salzberg, who writes, generosity has such power because it is characterized by the inner quality of letting go or extinguishing. Being able to let go, to give up, to renounce, to give generously, these capacities spring from the same source within us. When we appreciate generosity, we open to all of these liberating qualities simultaneously. They carry us to a profound knowing of freedom, and they also are the loving expression that the same state of freedom. Fall then is a perfect season to give generously of your time and talents to others. So we fall is a time, and from what at least the Buddhist teacher is saying, it's a moment not only to share, but it's also more of a moment to listen, because things are changing, and so it's a good time to actually listen to each other, and as well as be willing to share, but share at the right time. And it's a wonderful thing to be able to do that. So I encourage all of us to do it, you and myself, and yeah, share with each other. Again, it's my favorite season. Okay, thirdly, acknowledging impermanence. And impermanence means that nothing is permanent. You buy a brand new car, guess what? That car is going to eventually start to rust. It's going to have problems. You got to take it into the shop. You buy a house, you get a picture, anything, a present, anything. Eventually, it's not going to be the same as it was when you got it in the first place. So it's important to acknowledge that things aren't permanent. They're not always going to stay the same way. But you can learn to appreciate them differently as they age, as we all do. So autumn reminds us of the impermanence of everything. We have experienced the budding of life in spring and the flowerings and profusions of summer. Now the leaves fall and branches remind us of the fleeting nature of things. So there's a Jewish rabbi and writer, Harold Kushner, that suggests that when we contemplate fall's changes, we grow more appreciative of all the beauties that surround us. And there's a poet, I think she mentioned it earlier, the writer of this mentioned it, but Wallace Stevens once wrote, death is the mother of beauty. What those words say to me is to cherish the beauty of a sunrise, of a New England autumn, of a relationship, of a child's hug, or being born. Precisely because of these things will not be around forever, and neither will we be around to enjoy them. So enjoy them when you can, and as strongly as you can. Paul also brings home to our consciousness death. I don't know why they had to put that in. And the challenge to live every day to the fullest. And please do, because every day is important. Here's a quote by Susan Jeffers in Embracing Uncertainty, because life is full of uncertainty. As much as we even try to make it certain, it's never really certain. But that's kind of the beauty of the whole thing. It's kind of wonderful. And so what she says, I was once told that certain spiritual masters in Tibet used to set their teacups upside down before they went to bed each night as a reminder that all life was impermanent. And then when they awoke each morning, they turned their teacups right side up again with the happy thought, I'm still here. This simple gesture was a wonderful reminder to celebrate every moment of the day. And finally, Cynthia Keen, who wrote a book, Awake Mind, Open Heart, um, shares a practice to try. And so, let's maybe all try it once at least. So, when you are brave and have an open heart, you have the affection for this world, this sunlight, this other human being, this experience. You experience it nakedly, and when it touches your heart, you realize this world is very fleeting. And fleeting just means it goes by very fast, and it really does. So it's perfect to say hello and means goodbye. And also, my hope, hello again. And that is the power of fall for us to realize every day and its importance. And that every day, when it comes to the end of our days, which, is not fun to think about, we lived a lot. So let's live even more every day, as much as we can. Laugh, smile, be who we are, and enjoy the fact that we get to laugh, smile, and be who we are. Anyway, I will see you all tomorrow, and I hope you all have the rest of your day today. All right, ciao for now.